Hi, this is Amy Westerman and welcome to Become Your Own Favorite Chef. Tonight we're keeping it healthy. We're going to make some seared tilapia with some garlic asparagus. First off, I want to mention this item of food here. This is vacuum sealed tilapia. You can get this from any grocer that has a freezer section. I got this from Kroger, you can get it at Walmart. The fish, if you're not a big tilapia fan, you could use cod, catfish. Pretty much any kind of fish would work well, as long as it's a white fish. And let's get started. Alright, the prepping is the most important part. This is where you become your own favorite chef. You kind of have to know what seasonings you like on fish, so I'll tell you about mine and I'll give you some alternate ideas as well. I would suggest that everybody use garlic salt for their base of their seasoning on their tilapia. Just kind of sprinkle a little bit on. I know it kind of looks like I'm pouring a lot of salt here, but it needs it. It's fish. You want to hide that fishy taste. Pepper, always a go-to here. So you always at least need salt and pepper, and I am a garlic-loving girl. If you don't like garlic, just use regular old salt. This is simple enough and tasty enough on its own. Alright, if you like things extremely simple, slightly bland, you're good to go. However, I love Old Bay. Gives fish just a little extra depth. And so I always like to include a little bit of Old Bay seasoning as well. And again, I'm just sprinkling lightly here. It's enough that I want to see the seasoning on the fish, but not that I want to cover up the flesh of the fish. If you cover it up where you can't see the fish anymore, it's going to be so salty it'll be inedible. You can always use a little Cajun seasoning if you like a little heat, but this is really salty, so be careful. Just a little bit here. So I think I'm going to stick with just Cajun seasoning to add that spice, but if you really like it spicy, a little pinch of cayenne pepper on each one of these would be awesome. So after you have them covered, flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. After you've made this meal a couple times, you're going to learn just about the amount of seasoning you like. Some people like things really, really spiced up. Some people like it a little more fishy tasting. And again, this is kind of something you just have to work on. Try it out a few times on your own. But try to keep it pretty medium. You know, not too much, not too little. Enough to cover up the fishy taste, but not to taste like I'm licking a salt block. Now, if you're really wanting to be healthy, this fish would go straight to a searing hot pan, which we'll go to next. But while I'm worried about health, I'm also worried about having delicious fish. And so a secret to making your fish still healthy, just slightly less healthy, but 10 times more delicious, is to take a small bowl of just a couple tablespoons of flour, and right before you put it in the pan, take your seasoned fish and just kind of shake it around, dust it in that flour, shake off the excess. And what this flour does is it really sears a crispy crust around the fish, keeps the flavor intact, and this is as close to fried, catfish that you're going to get and still be healthy. So let's talk about what we do when we're searing that fish in the pan. Alright, to sear your fish without frying it, you'll need a little bit of olive oil. Depending on the size of your pan is how much you'll need, but you just want the oil to coat the bottom of it. This pan's going to be on medium-high heat, and we're going to wait until that olive oil looks really hot. You can usually tell it's really hot because you'll start seeing these little lines like the olive oil is moving all on its own. Right, you know your olive oil is hot enough. Also, when you splash a little water in there, it sizzles. So I think we're good to go. I always like putting my biggest piece of fish in there first because it'll take the longest to cook. So just lay that in. And if you hear that sizzling and popping, then you know your pan's hot enough. Let's get those other piece of fish in there. Lightly floured. Again, you could do that without the flouring, just depending on how healthy or delicious you want your fish. One more right in the middle. So you'll let that cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on that one side, really depending on how big the fish is. But you know it's done when you flip that over and you can see that beautiful crust. It's totally golden brown. You might lose a few tidbits on the bottom, but that's okay. it'll still be delicious. So flip that over and send that for another about 3 minutes. And we'll be done. Alright, it's been 3 minutes. Once you're ready, you can take those off. I like to put them on a paper towel first. Get some of that grease out. And you know when they're done, when you open that up and that's perfectly white and flaky, and that's perfect. So let's get these off of here. Next thing I'll show you is how to do a perfectly delicious and healthy side. Asparagus. I love asparagus, and I got it for only like $2.89 for this bundle today. So it was on sale. If it's ever on sale, I get it. First thing you do with asparagus after you rinse it off is you need to get these ends here cut off. Most people will just find their perfect breaking point and break them off one by one. I prefer that. It's kind of fun. If you don't like to do that, what you could do is just line them up like this and chop them all off at the same time. Whatever you prefer. Once you have all your asparagus ends cut off, you're going to need a little bit more olive oil this time. Want the asparagus nice and olive oily. And I love garlic again. If you don't love garlic, you could just cook this with salt, but we need garlic. I'm happy with anything easy, and this stuff is easy. It's minced garlic. I got it from Walmart. You can get it from anywhere. I would say add a couple tablespoons of this garlic, depending on how garlicky you like things. I like things really garlicky. Your own freshly minced garlic would be better and a little more flavorful, but this is just so easy, you can't go wrong. So kind of spread all this around, get that garlic roasted in that olive oil. I've got this heat on medium heat right now. Once that heats up for a couple minutes, we will add the asparagus. Alright, our oil's plenty hot. I'm going to add in our asparagus, kind of spread it around, and the most important step, salt. Asparagus needs salt. I'm adding probably a teaspoon there. I will add some more salt after it's cooked. I'm just going to kind of stir this around, get it mixed in with that garlic flavored olive oil. I'm going to keep the heat on medium. Once it's all pretty well coated, I'm going to stick the lid on. Wrong lid. Right lid. And I'm going to let this cook for just a few minutes until the asparagus kind of softens up, but before it loses its green color. Alright, you know if the asparagus is done, if it looks pretty soft, you know, you can cut it with a fork pretty easily, kind of floppy, but it hasn't lost its green color yet. If it starts turning brown, you've gone too far, stop it immediately. And we're ready to eat. Alright, and here's our finished product. We have our seared tilapia with our garlic asparagus. If you cook it like we talked about, it's crunchy, but easy to chew. Very garlicky, and you definitely want to add just a dash more salt at the end, but good part's the fish. It's crispy on the outside, but real flaky and tender on the inside. That's good. It's got a little bit of spice, just enough flavor so it doesn't taste fishy. Pretty much just tastes like I'm eating fried fish, but it's healthy. And if eating healthy was this good all the time, I look like Angelina Jolie. So I hope you guys enjoy the recipe and stay tuned for more videos in the future. Thanks for watching.